No woman wants a bloke who's predictable and dull in the bedroom. You know it. And deep down, she knows it too. Variety, a bit of playfulness, and just a touch of cheek. That's what keeps things memorable. I'm Dr. Amelia Wright, and I've been a urologist and men's health specialist for over 25 years now. Today, I'm going to share 6 practical, enjoyable things that many women secretly fancy trying, but often feel too shy to ask for outright. We're talking about ideas that are exciting, safe, and meant to strengthen your connection, not some wild, impossible fantasies you'd see in films. Now, I know many of you watching are at that stage of life where you've got years of experience behind you. And perhaps you're thinking, is this still for me? Absolutely. In fact, some of my most successful patients have been gentlemen in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Age isn't the end of passion. It's often just the beginning of a more confident, connected intimacy. But before we get stuck in, let me ask you, where are you watching from today? London, Manchester, perhaps you're enjoying your retirement in Spain. Drop it in the comments. I genuinely love seeing this community stretch across the globe. And whilst you're at it, do hit that like button and subscribe. It tells me you want more straight-talking, no-nonsense men's health advice delivered right to you. Now, let's bust a common myth that I hear all the time in my clinic. Most men think women don't fancy adventurous experiences in bed. They imagine that women prefer slow, gentle, romantic lovemaking only. That's simply not true, and here's what I've learned over 25 years of practice. Many women deeply desire novelty, intensity, and a bit of playful spontaneity, but they don't always say it aloud. Why? Because society's taught them to be polite, to avoid being judged, or simply because they don't want to be misunderstood or seen as demanding. The truth is, she may already be hoping you'll bring a bit of variety into the bedroom. Not to shock her or push boundaries uncomfortably, but to invite her into something fresh, safe, and exciting together. When you understand how to do this properly, slowly, respectfully, always with clear consent, you become the sort of man she not only trusts completely, but genuinely looks forward to exploring with. Now, I should mention something important here. Every woman is different. What I'm sharing are patterns I've observed over decades of clinical practice, but you know your partner better than anyone. Use your judgment, have conversations, and always prioritize what works for both of you. As a urologist, I've spent over a quarter of a century helping men reclaim not just their physical health, but their confidence and sense of intimacy. Performance, stamina, desire. It's not merely about testosterone levels or blood flow, though those matter. It's equally about psychology, honest communication, and yes, variety. Your partner's brain is her biggest sex organ. Feed her mind with curiosity, anticipation, and a bit of surprise, and her body will respond. Ignore that element, and you could be the fittest chap alive, but the spark still fades over time. So today, I'll give you 6 powerful yet practical ideas that women often secretly want to try, but don't always know how to ask for. Each one comes with 3 components: the biology, what actually happens in her body, the emotion, what it makes her feel, and the practicality, how to introduce it without awkwardness or pressure. Stay with me, because the last 2 on this list are the ones most men completely overlook, and yet they can genuinely transform your intimate life, particularly for those of you who've been with your partner for many years. Number 6, using a vibrator together. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, hang on, I'm enough, aren't I? Why bring a toy into things? Here's the honest truth, and I've had this conversation hundreds of times in my clinic. Most women reach climax fastest and most intensely with consistent clitoral stimulation. Your hands, your mouth, penetration. They're all wonderful and important, but they can't always maintain the exact same precision or rhythm that a quality toy can provide. Let me explain the biology. A vibrator delivers steady, repeatable stimulation to the clitoral nerves, which contain roughly 8,000 nerve endings. That's actually double what the penis has. Once her brain receives that consistent sensory input, her body floods with endorphins and oxytocin, priming her system for what we call multiple orgasms, something that becomes much more achievable with the right stimulation. Now, the emotion behind this matters enormously. When you confidently introduce a toy, she feels genuinely seen and prioritized. You're showing her, your pleasure matters to me. I want you to experience more satisfaction, not less. That message is deeply arousing on a psychological level. Here's the practical side, and I know some of you worry about this. A gentleman in my clinic, lovely chap from Birmingham, mid-70s, said to me, "Dr. Wright, won't she think I'm inadequate?" Not if you frame it properly. Keep it simple. Start with a small external toy. Nothing intimidating. Don't just plonk it on the bedside table like you've bought a new kitchen gadget. Smile, maintain eye contact, and say something like, "I picked this up for us. Thought we could experiment together. Fancy giving it a go whilst I kiss you?" Start with low intensity, perhaps over her underwear at first, or around the clitoral hood rather than directly on it. Let her body's responses guide you. The result? She'll associate you with her most intense orgasms, not the toy, because you're the one creating the entire experience for her. Now, I mentioned earlier that some of you raised concerns in comments about dependency. One viewer wrote that vibrators can make it difficult for women to climax without them eventually. That's a fair concern, but in my clinical experience, it's about balance. Used occasionally as part of your intimate repertoire, they enhance rather than replace. Think of it like enjoying a lovely meal out. It doesn't make home cooking obsolete, does it? It's just variety. Number 5. Blindfolds and sensory play. Take away sight and suddenly every other sensation becomes amplified. She doesn't know where your lips or hands will move next. That anticipation absolutely skyrockets. The biology here is fascinating. When one sense is temporarily removed, the others genuinely sharpen in response. Her skin receptors become more sensitive to temperature, pressure, and texture. Her brain releases dopamine specifically because of the unpredictability. Not knowing what's coming next creates a pleasurable tension. Emotionally, she feels safe enough to surrender control while still completely trusting you. That combination of vulnerability and anticipation is genuinely intoxicating for many women. It allows her to focus purely on sensation rather than worrying about how she looks or what she should be doing. Here's how to do this practically. Use something soft. A silk scarf works beautifully, or one of those comfortable sleep masks you can pick up at Boots. Before you start, agree on a simple signal system. Perhaps she squeezes your hand once to mean slow down, twice to mean stop completely. This gives her control even while she's surrendered sight. Then, and this is crucial, don't rush straight to the obvious places. Explore what I call the forgotten zones. The back of her knees, her ribs, the inside of her elbows, along her collarbones. Use different sensations. Your fingertips, then your breath, perhaps a feather or a piece of silk. Whisper as you go. "I'm kissing your left hip now. Should I move higher?" Not yet. By the time you reach more intimate areas, she'll be absolutely desperate for your touch. Number 4. Talking during intimacy, done properly. This isn't about being crude or performing like some actor in a blue film. It's about feeding her 2 deepest turn-ons. Feeling genuinely desired and feeling truly seen as an individual. The biology is straightforward. Words trigger the brain's arousal centers directly. When she hears authentic desire in your voice, her body responds with increased blood flow to her genitals and natural lubrication. It's a direct mind-body connection. Emotionally specific compliments like, "Your skin feels incredible," or "I love the way your breath catches when I touch you there," make her feel treasured rather than objectified. That distinction matters enormously, particularly for women who've been in long-term relationships and sometimes worry they're no longer seen as desirable. Here's the practical approach. Start with simple observations that show you're genuinely paying attention. "You're so responsive tonight." Then layer in your intentions clearly. "I'm going to make you come so hard." Keep your tone confident, but not aggressive. Some women enjoy earthier language during intimate moments, whilst others prefer more romantic phrasing. The key is to have a brief conversation outside the bedroom first. Perhaps over a glass of wine, ask her casually, "Do you fancy a bit of cheeky talk sometimes? Or do you prefer we keep things quieter?" That way, when the moment arrives, you both know what's welcome. Done properly, talking during intimacy is like adding fuel to an already burning fire. It intensifies everything. Number 3, controlled firmness. Many women genuinely enjoy being held firmly, guided into position, or moved deliberately. Not because they want pain or aggression, but because they want to feel your strength expressed in a safe, controlled manner. The biology behind this is interesting. Firm touch activates deep pressure receptors in the skin, which can actually release calming oxytocin while simultaneously exciting the nervous system. It's that paradox of feeling both secure and aroused at once. Emotionally, she feels desired in a primal way, claimed, if you will, but also completely protected. That combination of power and tenderness is deeply erotic for many women. She knows you're in control, but she also knows you'd never hurt her. Here's how to introduce this practically and safely. Always establish clear communication first. Use that traffic light system. Green means yes. Amber means ease off a bit. Red means stop immediately. Start with steady grips rather than sudden movements. Hold her hips firmly when you're kissing her. Guide her gently but decisively into a different position. Try holding her wrists above her head whilst you kiss her neck. If she responds positively and you want to explore hair pulling, do it properly. Gather the hair close to her scalp rather than yanking from the ends, and pull in a controlled direction, usually back and slightly to one side. For anything involving playful spanking, start light. Listen to her breathing and watch her body language. Pair any firmer touch with confident verbal reassurance. "Stay right there for me." Remember, decisiveness combined with genuine care equals absolutely magnetic. Number 2, roleplay and scenarios. You don't need costumes or elaborate props, just a willingness to step outside your usual dynamic. A new scenario brings novelty and removes routine completely. The biology is simple. The brain thrives on novelty. Dopamine levels spike when we do something unexpected, and that directly enhances arousal and pleasure. Emotionally, she feels playful and free to step outside her everyday self. For those of you in long-term relationships, this can genuinely reignite sparks that years of routine may have diminished. It gives you both permission to try on different personas and dynamics. Here's the practical approach. Suggest it lightheartedly, rather than making it a serious production. Fancy trying something a bit daft one evening? We could pretend we're strangers meeting at a hotel bar. Offer a couple of simple options and let her choose what appeals. Perhaps strangers flirting at a pub, or a tradesman who's come to fix something and finds unexpected distraction. Keep your first attempt brief. 10 to 15 minutes is plenty. End with laughter and genuine intimacy afterwards. If it works well, you can expand on it next time. If it feels awkward, laugh about it together and try something else. Role-play isn't about becoming actors. It's simply about unlocking new dynamics and giving yourselves permission to be playful together. And now, number 1, which I genuinely believe is the most powerful and most overlooked. Pattern interrupts and breaking routine. Here's the secret that most men in long-term relationships completely miss. The female brain loves surprise. When intimate experiences follow the exact same pattern every time, desire naturally fades. Change just one element, and you wake that desire right back up. The biology behind this is compelling. Novelty jolts the dopamine system, refreshing the brain's arousal and reward pathways. It's why new relationships feel so electric. Everything is novel. But you can recreate elements of that novelty, even after decades together. Emotionally, when you vary the pattern, she feels like you're still genuinely curious about her body, still willing to explore, not just going through familiar motions. That sense of ongoing discovery is remarkably powerful, particularly for couples who've been together many years. Now, here's the practical magic of this approach, and why I've put it as number 1. You don't need to do anything wild or complicated. If you always start intimate moments in the bedroom, begin on the sofa one evening instead. If you usually dim the lights, try candlelight. If your pattern is always slow and gentle, devote one night to more intensity. If you typically finish the same way every time, consciously change the order of things. A patient of mine, lovely gentleman from Yorkshire, been married 40 years, tried this after we discussed it. He told me, "Dr. Wright, I started giving my wife a proper full-body massage one evening, something we'd not done in years. Took my time, maybe 30 or 40 minutes, working from her head down to her feet, occasionally kissing her neck or back softly. I stayed inches away from the obvious areas at first, building anticipation. By the time I worked my way back up her legs, she was absolutely gagging for it. He said it was like being newlyweds again, simply because they'd broken their usual pattern. Small shifts keep her guessing and genuinely engaged. Novelty doesn't mean wild or extreme. It simply means different enough to wake up her brain's attention." Now here's your homework, and I'm serious about this. Don't try all 6 ideas at once. That's overwhelming for both of you. Pick just one concept from this list that genuinely appeals to you and introduce it gently in the next week or 2. Once it feels natural and you're both comfortable, layer in another idea. Always check in with simple communication. Phrases like, "more of that," or "should I slow down," are perfectly sufficient. Keep your tone warm, confident, and fully present in the moment. Remember, this isn't about tricks or techniques you're performing. It's about building a safe, playful space where both of you feel desired, respected, and genuinely turned on. I know some of you might be thinking, "But Dr. Wright, what if she laughs? What if I make a right mess of it?" Listen to me carefully. She doesn't want perfection. She wants your presence. She wants to feel that you care enough to try something new, to risk being slightly awkward if it means creating more connection between you. That vulnerability, that willingness to try, that's genuine intimacy, that's courage. And trust me, after 25 years of having these conversations in my clinic, most women would much rather you bring one new idea with authentic care than keep things predictable forever. Gentlemen, I want to say something particularly to those of you watching who are in your 60s, 70s, 80s. Age is absolutely not the end of passion. It's not the end of desire or pleasure. In many ways, you have advantages now that younger men don't. You've got patience, experience, confidence. You're less concerned about performance and more focused on genuine connection. Those are incredibly attractive qualities. Small changes, small risks, small acts of curiosity. These can reignite decades of comfort into renewed freedom and confidence together. Your intimate life doesn't have an expiration date unless you decide it does. So here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below and tell me, which of these 6 ideas are you most curious to try first? I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to hear from you. This community matters to me. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with another chap who might benefit from hearing it. Because regardless of your age, you absolutely have the ability to give and receive intimacy that feels alive, connected, and deeply satisfying. I'm Dr. Amelia Wright. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, your best years of vitality and pleasure aren't behind you. They're right in front of you, waiting to be lived fully. Take care, everyone.